Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Ives number SB453 surface bolt, 12-inch. Very common sort of surface bolt. We would call it a modern style surface bolt. SB stands for surface bolt. 453, SB453, all that goes together to mean it's the absolute industry standard of flat bar stock style modern door bolt. 12-inch is less common than the 8-inch. The 8-inch is really ubiquitous. You might would go to 12-inch if you simply wanted a longer bolt at the top or bottom, or certainly if you had a door that was slightly taller than 6'8 or 7'0, it'd be very typical for that as well. Excuse me. There is a link below this video to a template. It's a technical drawing, really, that shows everything about the item dimensionally. So I won't beleaguer all the points in this video, except, you know, the overall stuff. When they say 12-inch, it's a reference to the overall length of the bar stock. Speaking of the bar stock, 3/4 wide, 5/16 thick. Looking at the template drawing, they're calling it 1/4 inch thick. Tells me, you know, 1/4 inch is what they're calling this out to be. Now, the amount of projection or travel is based on the location of this pin that's here, that is part of the manufacturing of this, or inherently part of how this item is manufactured. So what limits the travel is the handle and then this pin. Okay? So we can measure the projection just by knowing this dimension. So the amount of throw is roughly 1.125 inches. Okay? That's the amount of throw. This other mounting pad up here will float. You can install it at any point that you really need to by sliding it down to suit your conditions. Doesn't really matter because your throw is about 1.125 inches. Okay. This is the bolt shown in the US 26D finish. Okay. It is more properly called 652 because it's a steel base material. 652 means satin chrome with a steel base. You know, the other dimension is the width of the pad, the mounting pads. 2-inch, maybe just a little heavy on that. So 12-inch, very common. The SB453 and an 8-inch would be more common. If you have a little taller door or you simply want a longer bolt, you'd be in good place with this. You'd be in a good position with this bolt here. Other than all of the dimensional properties on that link to the template, there's a reference to the strike plates, which we'll go over in a moment. But there's also a link to what's called a cut sheet, and it is, for all intents and purposes, the same document, except that it will give you additional information based on the longer versions of this bolt. So you've got 8-inch, 8-inch, you've got 12-inch, you can get 18-inch and 24-inch as well. And 18 or 24 would be very normal if you had an 8-foot tall door. 8 or 12-inch would not really be appropriate for an 8-foot door. You'd want to bring that up to the 24-inch length. So you can see all of the other dimensions that are there. Now, what it also has are instructions. Determine the side of the door to which the bolts will be applied. Do the door swing in or out? If they swing out, they'll obviously be on the push side. If they swing in, they'll be on the pull side. Drill and tap mounting holes indoor for the bolt. So figure out where it's going to go, and then they want you to drill and tap the holes for the bolts, the machine bolts that are included. These are 1024 machine threads. So they don't want you to use a wood screw to put it into a metal door. They actually want it drilled and tapped, which is the most appropriate way to install material to metal. You get your holes drilled and tapped, your 4 holes. attach it to the door. But by this time, you already know the type of strike that you're going to use. Let's talk about those now. You will have a mortise strike. Let's call this a mortise strike. You would use this if you were installing the bolts on the push side of a pair of doors that swung out. These dimensions are here already, but 2 7/8, 3/4, thickness of the material is 1/8 of an inch. Then you have an angle strike, and this would be appropriate for use where you were going to rim mount or surface mount the bolt, like you would if you were mounting it on the pull side of a pair of doors that swung in. So you would literally mount this to the header with your 2 screws to the header, then naturally your bolt would come like this. Okay. That other application, the outswing, would look more like this, where you would mortise this up into the stop of the header. So the strike that you're using is going to be based on that as well. Now they show a different application for the universal strike where they're using it. I wouldn't really recommend, well, not that I wouldn't recommend it. They're showing it used this way as well, which quite frankly, I don't see why it wouldn't work. Now, moving back down in through the installation instructions, step 4 is select either mortise strike or universal strike, and quite frankly, you've already determined that before you drill and tap any holes. You can't drill and tap holes until you know how you're going to apply all of it. And when I install these, I basically will lay all of that out and then mark my holes and then center punch my holes when I pre-drill my my hole to make way for the tap to come afterwards. After that is all done, then you attach your bolt. And do the same for the strike plate. That's the bottom line. This bolt, again, is available in those different lengths, 8, 12, 18, and 24. You can get, this will come with the standard package. You're going to get some wood screws along with machine screws, depending on your application. You can also order a sex bolt package, and that sex bolt package specifically means you're going to get through bolts for the bolt itself, so that if you have an application where the door is not reinforced properly or cannot take tapping because the material thickness is just too thin, sex bolts would be a great option that will bolt it through the door and make it much more secure. Then of course the finishes, zinc plated is a great option. It's a bit less expensive than than satin chrome, corrosion resistant. It's not architecturally correct as satin chrome hardware, but it's very common and typical zinc plated US 2C zinc plating over steel, satin chrome, and of course oil rub bronze as well. Stiff tension it refers to in the bolt itself. You actually have to force this. You can tell just by how much force it takes to move that. It takes force, is what I'm trying to say. That's by design, to prevent that bolt from coming down or moving over time. It's intended to be that way. The rest of the extended description gives you all of the details that we've already covered. Now there's a link below this video to the Ives manufacturer page where you'll be able to review their catalog so that you can determine if this is the best surface bolt for your needs. The name Ives is synonymous with trim and auxiliary hardware, door bolts obviously, kick plates, push plates, door stops, etc. A wide range of material. If you have any questions on the Ives SB453 bolt or any other Ives product, please feel free to reach out to us.